Okay guys, today we're going to talk about lesson 100, constructing pyramids. I wanted to go over the problem solving with you, so go get your books, lesson 100, page 630. Meet me back here. All right, the Franklin family is moving to a new house and they've packed their belongings in identical boxes. The picture at right represents the stack of boxes that is inside the moving truck. How many boxes are in the stack? Okay, so we've got 4 stacks of boxes here, and they're 3 boxes high. So if we're going to try to figure out, we can't count each box because we can't see each box. There's some boxes down in the middle that we don't even see. Okay, so we have to devise a method of figuring out from the boxes that we can see, can we figure out how many are there? So one of the ways we can do that is if we have this, if we see this layer of boxes right here, I know that there are 3 high and there are 4 wide. And so if I were going to figure out how many's in this layer, I would take 3 times 4, and I know there's 12 in this layer. Well, then how many layers do we have? I can see that this is a layer. Here's a, let me get my markers. I can use that. Maybe you can see that better. I know that this is a layer, and there's 12 in it. And I know that here's a layer right in the middle. And then I know this outside there's a layer. So there are 3 layers of 12. I can figure out there were 36 boxes. All right. This problem goes really well with kind of the things that we're going to be getting into. And so I wanted to go over that problem with you. Let's get right into the lesson. It's on constructing pyramids. One of the things that I want to make sure that you guys are very clear on, and that is the difference between what we've been studying. And one of the things that we have been studying are, you'll recall in lesson 98, we talked about geometric shapes. And we talked about a square, and we've talked about a triangle, and we've talked about a circle. And all of those geometric shapes are 2-dimensionals. They have length and they have width, okay? You may not think a circle does, but it does. It has length and it has width. It's just you don't calculate it in the same way as a triangle and a square. Maybe one day that we have a fun math day, I'll show you how a circle has length and width. It's really actually kind of a cool activity. I'll have you do it with me. Okay? All right. Length and width, and they're flat. Remember? They're flat shapes. Now, in geometry, we have something that is called a plane. And you will be talking about the plane in geometry class when you get up in 7th and 8th grade. It's a plane, it's just an endless, it's like a line. You know how a line goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever? A plane is just a mass surface, flat surface that goes forever and ever and ever, and it doesn't stop, okay? It's an infinite flat surface. We call that a plane in geometry. Now, a plane can be represented by this whiteboard. Could be a plane, okay? And the shapes, the square, the triangle, and the circle lie flat on the plane. They don't stick up. There's no depth at all on the plane, okay? We find these types of figures on planes, on flat surfaces, okay? Now, what we've been, the last couple of lessons that we've been talking about are shapes that have depth to them. So we've talked about a cube has a square face, right? Now, when we make a cube and you look at a cube, if I had a I don't see any cubes around here. If I had a cube and I set it up here, you wouldn't be able to see part of it, right? And I know a lot of you know how to draw a cube. You do the two squares and then you connect the corners, right? Well, in your math book, I know you've seen drawings of cubes where they don't show you all of the lines as solid lines, but they will show you they'll do it like this. See if I can do it. It'll be dotted lines. And those dotted lines show you that when you're looking at the cube, this is all you see. You don't see the back face and this face and the bottom face. You just see these three. So they use those dotted lines a lot of times in drawings to show that it's there, but you can't see it, right? It makes those figures feel like it's there. Plus, it shows that that is not a flat shape because I'm using a flat surface. I'm using a plane to try to show you a three-dimensional object. This gives it that depth that a three-dimensional object will have. And that's a lot of times you'll see like dotted lines like that to show almost an optical illusion that a two-dimensional figure has three dimensions, okay? So, a cube, a rectangular prism, all those prisms that we were talking about, they take up space. A square, it doesn't take up any space because it lies flat on the board. A cube takes up space. I could saddle up right next to this square and there'd be plenty of room because it's not taking up any space. If there were a cube here, I'd have to, it'd be bumping into my hand. It would be taking up space. All right. Now, in lesson 99, we learned about the cube and rectangular prism. We learned about triangular prism. Those are all 3D shapes, and we actually call any kind of a shape that has 3 dimension a solid because it takes up space. So you'll see geometric solid or just solids is in mathematics. You'll hear them called both because they have length, width, and depth. Okay, so they have the 3 dimensions. All right. We've also studied the prisms and their solids. This lesson, we're going to study about pyramids. So, what you're supposed to do in this lesson is you're supposed to create your own pyramids, an activity. So, we're not together to do that. So, guess what? I have attached to this lesson, I have the triangular pyramid and the square pyramid, and I have the nets of those. Remember I told you the net is the flat 2-dimensional shape of what a solid is when you make it a solid. You can flatten it out. That's called the net. I have copies of the nets that you can print out, and you can put those together. Who was it that did it? Leon, I believe it was Leon, showed me she made like 7 or 8 different solids and had taped them together. That was really cool. She had done that yesterday. So what I want you to do, I've sent you 2 that you can do. Now I want to show you the difference. If you look in your book, this pyramid here, do you see that the base of it is a square? So that's called a square pyramid. This base is a triangle, And so it's called a triangular pyramid. All right, that's the difference. And I sent you the square pyramid, and I also sent you the triangular pyramid that you can make those. If you guys like those, I have others that you can make if you want. The cylinders are really cool. But if you will make those, and then if you'll just go over this lesson practice with those, I think that would be more fun for you to do with the shape, okay? And that's all we have to go over today. So I can't believe we've made it through lesson 100. Yay! Yay! So you guys have done a good job. See you next time.